welcome back to Sip with Joy. Running just a couple of minutes late. Karee, I hear you over there in the background. Uh, we are back for another episode of Sip with Joy. Thank you for tuning in. I am your host, Joy M. Hutton, and I am a serial entrepreneur and lover of food and wine. And I messed up my whole intro, y'all, because I'm over here trying to get these people on Instagram over here. But Sip with Joy is a show about a girl, her wine, and her feelings, and I am that girl. I'm Joy. So welcome back for another episode of Sip with Joy. And today, y'all know how I do. I got to tell you about the wine of the day. And today is a Côte de Provence Rosé from France. So, I got to take my sip. And I'll tell you guys more about this wine on at Sip with Joy on Instagram. So if you're not following, make sure you do that. And I'll tell you guys more about this wine on the sip of the day. All right. So today, guys, this episode is called You Have to Go Through It to Grow Through It. Or you may have heard people say you grow through what you go through. Same thing. Same thing. So it's always about taking life's challenges head on and not letting them overtake us or overcome us. So today's guest is a marketing mogul and boss. And even though she makes it look easy, we're going to talk about her path and how she manages to literally do it all. So welcome, Karee Laing.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we just see now you fussy again.
I know these technical difficulties. The devil is strong.
Yes, the devil is busy, y'all, trying to get us to, we've been working with technology on the back end, but that's okay. We're gonna have a good episode today, and so Karee, you are here today representing OK Brands, OK Brands US because you have like 18 businesses, so. I know you're representing that one today, but can you also tell the people what else you do and tell us about OK Brands as well?
Okay. So, you guys, my side gig has a side gig. This is the way I look at it. I'm coming to grips with the fact that I am a serial entrepreneur, but I will say this, I do have successful businesses. My day job, I run a marketing agency, Studio Brand Collective. So we are Studio Brand. I've scaled it back tremendously, and we'll talk a little bit about that because I think it's appropriate for our chat today. Mm-hmm. And I've been in marketing now for almost 18 years. Started Studio Brand in 2012. So, or 2013. So we've been doing it for a while. We work with and have worked with names, like Harris County, a lot of different restaurant groups here in town, a bunch of hospitality groups, small businesses, large businesses, county, Rice University, University of Houston. I mean, our clients are kind of a gamut. And so that's my main gig. My main gig affords me to dabble into what I call creative ventures.
Yeah.
Some more successful than others, in terms of if you're looking from a straight dollar revenue perspective. But I think at the end of the day, my idea is that there's really no such thing as failure, because if you're learning lessons, whether it's about the industry, whether it's about the people, whether it's about supply chain, and actually whether it's about yourself,
right.
As a CEO, as a creative, as an entrepreneur, then if you're learning lessons, they aren't failures. So I've learned a ton of lessons. Most recently, I started OK Brands with the significant other. Okay. So I'm a co-founder, right? it feels so different going from founder to co-founder. But I have to give him his props, even though he will remain nameless.
Yes, absolutely. Can't have people all up in your business.
Yeah. The idea of OK Brands is it's a group of brands that are direct to consumer, so DTC brands. Focuses really on getting quality right, tapping into communities, working on supply chain logistics. We are also now importers globally, which was a big thing. And so a few of our brands that you've experienced include Vine and Valley Jewelry, which is the jewelry line that I'm representing now.
And this wine is
know.
from Vine and Valley. So yeah, I will definitely tell people more about that. So yeah, y'all, I'm telling you, she does so many things. This wine is one too. And wait, and I know you're telling the people about OK Brands, but I also have to mention that Karee's firm, her marketing agency, Studio Brand Collective, also designed On The Go Glam's website. So we would not have a beautiful website if it wasn't for her. So I had to shout Studio Brand Collective out on that. And I hate this echo. I really hate the echo is happening because and people need to see your beautiful face. It's not as cloudy now, but we can see you. But I hate the echo.
Well, thank you.
So okay, so you were saying collection of brands and now Vine and Valley. So how did that come about?
Oh, from my beautiful mind. And I convinced him that they were all great ideas. Yeah. By the way, he is not very easily convinced. So, you know, I had to put my mouth where my tushy was. And we created a few. I think we have 3 that are live now. So you have Vine and Valley, which is jewelry. There's a story behind that name. Our first restaurant that we call our restaurant.
Okay. A restaurant.
It's Pearl and Vine in Katy.
Okay.
And our place to go sip wine is in Napa Valley. So Vine and Valley, that's how that came about. OK Brands is actually his initial and my initial together.
Okay.
Yeah,
see?
Clever.
Yes.
We have a learning toy line focused on kids' development learning. And we also have a hair accessory line for women. And we are working on the 4th launch brand, which is Home Goods.
Okay.
All of the first 3, we're also testing out Amazon. So we're dabbling in, the industry. We can talk a little bit with your audience about passive income and really diversifying your portfolio.
Okay. I love it. Okay, so my first question is because clearly you have a lot of things going on, a lot of great things going on. So how are you managing it all, Karee? Like, how, Sway?
How, Sway? Well, the first, I will say this. It's a priority shift all the time. I have gained at least 10 to 12 pounds, so the priority of my fitness is clearly at the bottom.
Yeah.
We're working on that because at the end of the day, you do want to ensure that you're taking care of yourself. So it's a constant struggle. And I think that really summarizes entrepreneurship. In a nutshell, it's a constant choice between what your priorities are. I have made some tough decisions. One was in scaling back the agency or in being intentional about the clients that we keep and take. I am able to remove myself much more than I was before. So the agency really runs a whole lot without me, which gives me time to work on these other brands. I'm a co-founder, and I'm a co-founder with a significant other. So I really pulled the babe, I'm tired today,
Yeah.
a whole lot, because I also don't want my natural instinct of leading and managing and doing it all to really overshadow the fact that when you're in a partnership, whether it's business or otherwise, you have to make space for the other person to show up too, right?
Right.
So that helps tremendously. It feels a whole lot different when you share the responsibilities with someone else and somebody who is really as invested as you are.
Right.
So that's
Absolutely.
helped with that.
Yeah.
He's also, other than that, you have to be mindful of, okay, it's time to, yes, the list never ends, but you have to know when to tap out
Hmm.
and say, okay, I need a break. I need to not do anything, or I need to go see my esthetician or get a massage, or whatever the case is, whatever your reset is. It's a lot of mindfulness and being surrounded by a lot of people who understand who you are. I've stopped trying to change who I am.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of creatives who have a lot of different passions feel like they have to change themselves because something has to be wrong with you.
Right.
There is nothing wrong with me. Okay. I'm highly efficient in that I can get through in 4 hours what most people probably take 2 days to get through. But with that comes a very accelerated rate of burnout and exhaustion because you move through things so fast, you keep moving, right?
Exactly.
So you have to be very mindful and you have to be surrounded by people that know that is exactly how you are. And so sometimes they go, listen, you need to stop. Like you haven't taken a break. You've been running yourself a little bit chaotic for the last 2 weeks. It's time to, and you have to respect those people who hold you accountable to you.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of how
growth.
yeah.
Yes. Because starting now is like, no, I'm not letting anybody do anything. This
Yes.
is my business, this is my baby, and no, you can't touch it. So that's growth,
Yep.
and that's, a large part why I went to talk to you about these things because you have to evolve in personally and professionally,
Yep.
especially when you're a business owner. But in life in general, you have to evolve. There's a level of maturity that you have to have
Yep.
to say the things that you did,
Mhm.
to step away from things. So I appreciate that. So how do you, outside of, balancing it all, how I like the word prioritizing better
Yes.
than balance because
Because there is
people
no
always ask
balance.
about balance. Right, there's no balance
Yep.
because something is always going to suffer. Like you said, your
Yep.
house could be in shambles. It could be your
Mhm.
weight. It could be anything. Like something is
Mhm.
always going to give, even if it's not a significant lull in that area, it's still gonna give a little. So nothing's gonna be completely even.
That's
So,
right.
and hey Rhonda, hey LC. So how do you maintain your peace and your
Mm.
sanity?
How long do you have on this call,
Listen.
on this chat? Because, ladies, I am not married. I will say this: never been married. I'm not married. I think I would say I'm in a great relationship. Um, and the reason why I point to this is that relationships in general are key, right? Keeping your sanity does not mean isolating yourself and working nonstop because one, sometimes you are your own worst milestone or measure stick, right? Because if you're a very goal oriented or very driven person, sometimes you don't know when peace and sanity is being sacrificed because all you see is that goal. So one of the key things is I had to be much more intentional about making time for relationship, making time, and that relationships is you're talking sister relationship, brother relationship, friend relationship, significant other relationship, even like the gym, relationships at the gym, right?
Right.
You've got, it's like you have to envelope yourself in maybe what a lot of people call a support system,
Right.
right? And in that support system, you have to make it intentional to step outside and be present. And
Mm-hmm.
that's being present in life. I know there's social media and we're all, we've got this looming thing that we have to always be on social media and we have to do
Mm-hmm.
this, all this stuff. But living in life, in real life, is so important. Um,
Yeah.
I will say this, like I went through some grief this year from a loss, and it made me realize that life is really not guaranteed,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
It was an unexpected loss. uh, and I mean, I can share, it was my ex, somebody who I was with for 6 years.
Mm.
And while clearly we were not together, the idea that the finality of somebody's life,
Yeah. Exactly.
it's gone. This person will never get to experience all these things that we have, and I'm sure he never thought that the day he passed away was going to be his last day.
Right.
And it gave me a little bit of a jolt, because I said to myself, wow, we have all these lists and things that we want to do,
Yeah.
and sometimes we do them at sacrifice of peace, sanity, our own mental health and
Yeah.
wellness.
Absolutely.
But why? Because tomorrow is never a guarantee. So you have to be much more conscientious of stopping things like, okay, I start working at 8, and by 5 or 6, even if I'm not done with my list,
Yeah.
I'm going to stop. I'm going to sit down and have dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Or we're going to have a meal together and talk about our day. Or I'm going to get on the phone and catch up with friends. Or I'm going to read a book. Or
Right.
I'm going to finish that, series or documentary. You have to be very intentional about your life, because it's your life and nobody else is going to be as intentional as you. And the only way you can truly find peace is by making peace a priority.
Yeah. Ooh, girl. I hope people are listening. I hope
Yeah.
people are listening. There was no echo on
I
that.
know. I know. I
So
love it. I
we
love
needed to hear that. We're
it.
not gonna jinx it though. We're not gonna jinx it. But yeah, you're so right. And it's shoot, we say tomorrow's not promised, but today. You could be here today and gone in the same day.
In the same
So
day.
it's just,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. It's like you only have now. So what are you
Yes.
gonna do with that with that time? And my
Hmm.
time is very valuable. I don't have time for shenanigans. So,
Yes.
so speaking of partner, what type of partner would you say you need to be able to receive your level of ambition? And y'all, Karee is Jamaican too, so she come with like
3 jobs. And they're so right about that. Okay.
all
See, I
these
know.
jobs and that little feistiness, and
I
listen,
know. I
look,
know.
I've
I
known
know.
Karee for a long time, so I can say that.
Yes, she can. And you know what? It's okay. I have now come to the again, I'm not trying to change me. So when people are
Yeah,
like, "Oh, you're a bit much." Yes. In fact, I'm going to tell you I am a bit much,
yeah.
because that's also the part of growth. And I think
Mhm.
that you talk about is that we need to stop. It's almost like, as women, and I hate to say brown skin women, we make a
Yes.
lot of, excuses or sorries or
Mhm.
apologies for who we are.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Right.
Yes, I'm strong. Yes, I'm ambitious. Yes, I'm driven. Yes, I like nice things. Yes, I like wine.
Yeah.
Yes, I like my life the way it is. It's okay. And I think we need to be much more unapologetic about who we are and accept ourselves more in terms of who we are. So, in terms of a partner, I think one of the first things for me was that I had to be okay with me,
Yeah.
because like you mentioned, right, she's just this big personality, and she's, some say, demanding, or egregious,
Yeah.
or outspoken, or driven, and she runs a mile a minute. And I used to go, my gosh, this is horrible, this is horrible. And I would shrink those parts of myself for acceptance.
Yeah.
But you can't do that. So I had to first accept me and go back to, she's great. She's phenomenal. I think if you follow me in social, you'll see a lot of times I try to embark that on others because we go through it a lot and we don't recognize that we're doing it. So the first thing is those things. When we met, I was like, yes, I'm a brat. You know, I'm driven. I like my own way. I am ABCD. Now, granted, you make concessions in a relationship because you have to.
Right.
But those are intentional concessions because you course correct to ensure that you're accounting for somebody else's life with your life, right?
Yeah,
And two
absolutely.
grown adults. So that was the first thing that I went into it being very honest about me. And you choose as a partner to accept, is this somebody or some, these personalities, can I deal with them? Yes. Okay. And then you ebb and flow with that, because if you think of the beauty of that, me being driven was already expected.
Exactly.
I will say this though, he never expected the level at which the drive goes. He goes, do you ever sleep?
Your
And I'm
brain
like,
never stops, Karee. I
yes.
was like, ma'am, before we got on this call, I said, ma'am, this is like business number 29.
Yes.
Well, I
The
was like,
brain
who?
never stops.
Co-founder and CMO of who?
Of what? Yes.
I said,
Yes.
we'll talk about this later.
Girl, I have friends who I'm like, guys, I'm tired, man, or my family, and I'm like, I'm tired. I don't know why I'm so tired. And they look at me
Like, you don't know why you're tired.
are you off of your rockers? You started 3 companies under one
Right.
in like a blip, and you have this other stuff. What do you mean you're tired? You don't know why you're tired.
Yeah,
So
I'm guilty of the same thing. And my friends are like, but you're doing all these. I'm not doing nearly as much as you are, so I don't know how you sleep. But
oh, I mean, you sleep.
Yeah.
They say there's a study that talks about how many hours you really need.
Yeah.
And, ideally 6-7 hours is good. And I think I get about 6-7 hours a day.
Yeah.
I've had to change my food intake, like what that looks like, because
Right.
it's funny. Again, I think there's a lot more information now about how you have to eat to sustain, so there's that. So that's a partner, somebody who is accepting and also ambitious and driven, smart, understanding, patient.
Ooh.
Patient, fill in the blanks.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
be. Yeah, especially when you have, when you're with someone that's a visionary, that's a creative, that's ambitious, it requires a lot of patience in general, but when you are with someone like that, it does require a lot of patience, because people always ask me, well, what type of man do you need to be with? Well, definitely not someone that's going to expect me to sit around and do nothing. Like, I'm not turning off the lights as soon as we get together. It's just not happening.
Yes.
Because my mind is always going, and so you need someone to match that energy.
Match your energy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that. Okay. So, and this question, because I think we've already answered this question, but do people think you work too hard? Yeah. The answer is yes. Do you think you work too hard?
No.
You don't think you work enough?
I think I work enough, but I think I need to work more efficiently. I am always trying to find systems, automations, things like that, right? I will say this. We started OK Brands, and so many of our products are carried through like Amazon, and we're going into like Walmart, and there isn't much you do. I mean, we deal with the shipping and logistics end of it, but once it gets there, it's like we have a team. We have a team that handles our advertising. I decided to outsource that so that they would really be responsible for that. So they manage all of that. Amazon does, and Walmart does all the rest. So it's kind of like systems. You have to really figure those systems out. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what does taking time away look like for you?
Taking time away is travel. I mean, in the last month or 2 months, we've done Chicago, we've done North Carolina, We've done, I mean, oh my gosh, it's like Austin.
Yeah.
It means traveling. The idea is Arizona. The idea is that, you know, and I think like travel bloggers will tell you, and they're so true, and most people will tell you, traveling and seeing how the world moves and operate outside of where you currently reside, right? Your day to day. It's a very eye-opening experience
Yeah.
because the world is so much bigger than the small space that we occupy. And the sooner we're able to recognize that, I think the sooner we're able to really grow, right? There's so much more out there, and it gives me creative juice and creative spark. I mean, New York, for example, I was in New York for 48 hours, and just the city just never sleeps, for real.
Yeah.
But the creativity and the hustle and the grind, and just, and I mean, and people were nice. Like, normally you don't think New York nice, but we didn't have any bad experiences. And the food, and just being able to unplug to really experience something else, for me, that is the true escape. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Does
I
your
do normally.
brain really stop though?
It's just like, I like this.
Right, you're putting stuff in your phone, writing stuff
Taking
down.
pictures. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But at least you're taking that time to unplug, and I'm so happy to hear that because I know you never stop. So
I've gotten much better
I'm
at
glad that you have someone that kind of, forces you to press that pause button. So that's good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. I'll see you back here next week. Thank you for tuning in and bearing with the sound difficulties. I'll be back here next week. See ya.
All right.
Thank you, Karee.